Welcome back to this week's episode of Problematic Women. It's been 1 week since Charlie Kirk's assassination, and it has sparked global outrage and has brought out some of the most unorthodox responses from very high-profile people. And we've seen some really surprisingly positive and shockingly sane responses from celebrities like Justin Bieber, Jamie Lee Curtis, especially makeup artist Jeffree Star. We're going to get to that later, but also we are seeing some things that we absolutely expect from celebrities, namely Jimmy Kimmel with his absolute smear, possible FCC violation, and he got canned this week. We're reveling in it, but is it a free speech violation or is it a long time coming? We're going to get to all of that and more today on Problematic Women. Welcome back. I'm Elise McHugh.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Virginia Allen.
I'm Crystal Bonham.
Well, it is good to be back with you all.
Mm-hmm.
It is, gosh, I mean, it's like, wow, so much has happened just in this week since we all last spoke and joined around this table. Crystal, it's great to have you jumping back in with us this week. I think we have to start with what, in my opinion, was the biggest news of the week, and that is that Erica Kirk is the new CEO and chairman of the board of Turning Point USA. Yes. And when I heard the news, it felt obvious to me that there was literally no other choice for this position. Did you guys feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
After watching her speech on Friday night last week, and just hearing her conviction and seeing her anger and her meeting the conservative movement where it's at, where we're not just going to sing kumbaya and hold hands with the left and say we all need to come together in both sides-isms. But as she was like, you thought that you were going to silence our movement, you have no idea what's coming. And especially hearing that Charlie Kirk in a clip before said that she is more conservative and more based than he is, I'm like, hell yes, this is exactly what we need. Erica Kirk for president. Like, she gets my full support.
Oh, it's 100% true, too, that clip. That Erica is more conservative than Charlie, and just their relationship really embodied just everything. Like, Erica supported Charlie through all of Turning Point USA and all of his personal endeavors, and Charlie supported Erica, and that was something that made their relationship so special. And I mean, I know all the board members at Turning Point, just working there the past 4 years, and it was not just the right decision, it was the only decision. I know it's the decision that Charlie would have handpicked, and there really was nobody else who was put on this earth other than Charlie to take over this organization. Like, Erica is just the perfect fit, and I know that, like, she will truly carry his legacy on forever and make sure of it.
So I love it, too. Not to make it political, but, we're up against this kind of radical reimagining of what once was the feminist movement, who paint the right as these misogynist women haters that, like women, we just belong in the kitchen and that's the only role for us in civil society. And then you have this strong woman that just proves behind every accomplished strong man is a strong woman. And so it's been really exciting to watch her really step into this role.
100%. And it's a role that I don't think Erica truly ever thought she would have to step into. Like, she loves her children more than anything. I know she's posted a couple of videos of her, like, homeschooling her kids, and I know that she loves more than anything being a mother and being a wife. And this is something that I know just where her heart is with God and just the woman that she is, that, she knows that this is what she has to do, and putting aside, what the stay-at-home mom life is and keeping her life in the shadows. And that's something that I've always respected about the Kirk family, is how truly private they are. And that's what, if you go on social media, you won't see a photo of their children's faces. And I think that's something so beautiful, is they've always protected the family and protected their marriage that way. But Erica being so bold and strong to come out and now taking on this role is something just super beautiful.
It's really beautiful. And it's been beautiful to watch so many celebrities, people of influence, put politics aside and say, I'm going to speak out and use my platform to just speak truth in this moment, like Charlie did, and to recognize that an amazing man, an amazing father, an amazing leader was just killed in a heinous way. And I have personally been really encouraged. People are just like, I'm just not going to be silent anymore, and they're getting backlash for it. But I'm so impressed that they're willing to just speak truth, and really to speak truth that was the truth that Charlie spoke.
And some of these responses are honestly pretty bare minimum, but it's surprising and a little saddening, but also good that like we kind of expect them not to do the bare minimum, so when they do, we're like, oh my gosh, yes, like a return to sanity. Specifically, one of the celebrity responses that really got to me this week was Justin Bieber. Now, I don't know if you guys know this. I mean, Morgan, you and I are big fans of Justin Bieber, but he's the same age as Charlie Kirk, and he has a son the same age as Charlie Kirk's son, both born in May of 2024. And Justin Bieber, as we have discussed, he's been on like his own personal journey and has battled his own demons. And he was born and raised a Christian, and he has spoken about that. He's been very upfront about it. And he posted something this week that really spoke to me. And I've heard a lot of people from Megyn Kelly, Greg Gutfeld, all these commentators say this. So to hear this from Justin Bieber was pretty mind-blowing. In all caps, he posted on Instagram 2 days ago, "There has been a mighty battle going on for control of your mind. Heaven and earth intersect in your mind. The tugs of both spheres influence your thinking." And then he keeps on going about that. But that phrase, like a battle in your mind for your spirit and spiritual warfare specifically, has been something that we have heard a lot, because it's not just, oh, like this guy didn't like what Charlie Kirk had to say and then he decided he had to go, even though that is what the text revealed. But between that and then between the things that were engraved on the bullet casings, and then even go back to the Annunciation shooting, we see some real demonic stuff going on here. It's deeper, and there's a reason that Charlie Kirk got shot underneath a banner that was like, what did it say? Jesus is King or Jesus is Lord, something like that.
Yeah.
Like there's some really heavy spiritual warfare symbolism going on, even if you don't agree. That's just out there. And there also are other celebrities, like you were telling me, Virginia, who have also been joining in prayer against this. It's not just a political thing, it's a spiritual thing.
100%.
Yeah. I think that's been the powerful thing to watch. Is like we all kind of knew Charlie Kirk in some ways first as being that political side, but so much of what he talked about, as we've discussed here, was his faith. He was so open. And so that's generated just this incredible outpouring of people saying, above all else, let's turn to God right now. And so Chris Pratt, shortly after Charlie Kirk's assassination, hopped on social media and prayed on social media. I'm just going to play a clip of it here, because it is just kind of wild to see a celebrity as big as this just saying, okay, let's just pause and stop in prayer.
Lord, fill me with strength to turn my attention toward you, that I find rest and joy in your presence. Amen. Okay, now you can continue strolling, or you can turn your phone off and go outside. Might I suggest the latter? Go get some sunshine, go look at a tree, touch some grass, call a friend. If you've got time to be on your phone right now, you've got time to do your to-do list, and you've got time to reach out to somebody in need. Share this prayer with them. Amen.
More of that.
Like that.
So much more.
I did have to, after really not that long, I had to shut everything off for a while. I was like, I can't do this. Like, it's just no brain should have to intake that at all.
And I think it's around something so emotional. It just gets weary sometimes hearing opinion after opinion. Even sometimes the positive ones, you're like, I just want to sit in grief for a second. I don't need another hot take.
And the conspiracies, too, as something, I mean, I know Charlie's team personally, so when you're seeing on Twitter just conspiracies pop up of individual people that you know, I was looking at this and I'm like, this is so heartbreaking. Like, this is a tragedy, and it's almost like I just wish everyone could have just stopped for a day and been like, let's just pray about this, and like we don't need to make it political yet. And like, you know, it's all gonna happen. The clips are gonna come out, they're gonna find the shooter, and it was same thing. Like, I had to shut it off. It was just like an overwhelming amount of opinions. But in light of that, like seeing people like Chris Pratt, Justin Bieber post, I even saw Maddie Pruitt posted, and she's somebody who's always been a very staunch Christian speaking out about that. And I honestly wish more of these like Christian influencers posted about it, because it is a spiritual warfare, and it was unfortunate in my eyes, seeing so many Christians not post about it, or even Christians saying like, I don't know what God you guys all believe in, but like
putting modifiers. Well, I don't agree with Charlie, but it's like, no,
it doesn't matter if you agreed or didn't agree. He was a Christian man, a husband and a father. And that's the point that I feel like not enough people were driving home of, like, his politics meant nothing in this situation right now. It is who he is as a person, and the people who know him are telling you this is who he is. And he was a Christian above anything else. Like, you can watch any of his videos, you can disagree with his opinions all you want, but he was a Christian, and all of his beliefs came from the Bible. So if you're also saying that you're a Christian and you're like, but I don't agree with him, like, I honestly reflect on what your beliefs really are. And that was something that I guess was frustrating for me to even see just in the Christian community, is the backlash that people who were speaking out about it were getting, and then the lack thereof of some Christians who have a platform not speaking out. I know, like Stephen Furtick of Elevation Church, he did not say anything, and that sparked outrage, rightfully so. And then you saw other pastors speaking out, and I believe it's true. If you're a pastor on Sunday, didn't even say a word about Charlie Kirk, I don't really think you're going to a church.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, Morgan, it has been, as I've been saying, like, it's beautiful to see individuals who have a platform say, politics aside, let's focus on the fact that this was a good man and his faith. And Jamie Lee Curtis did this on the WTF podcast, just in a pretty powerful statement.
I disagreed with him on almost every point I ever heard him say.
Yeah.
But I believe he was a man of faith. And I hope in that moment when he died that he felt connected to his faith.
Again, just celebrities getting really emotional. And Elise, you flagged for me. So there's an influencer, makeup artist, Jeffree Star. If you know him, you know him, because once you've seen him, you'll never forget him.
He's this tall, skinny man who has like bright pink hair. He's had different hair colors throughout his life. Okay, all love Jeffree. You would think he's transgender, but he has said many, many times in his career, he's like, I'm just a man who likes to do makeup and make videos about it. But he renounces all of that stuff. And he's such an odd bird. He moved to Montana? Wyoming, and started a yak farm just randomly.
Because why not? Star Yak Ranch.
Like, you would
Does he sell like the Himalayan dog chews? Because I get those
I
for my
think he
dog.
does, like, beef jerky.
Yeah, he
yak
sells
jerky. I don't know. But if you're not watching this on YouTube or Rumble, I highly encourage it, because unless you're going to go and independently search up Jeffree Star,
You need to see this to believe
you
it.
need to see this man. He spoke out about Charlie Kirk, and here's just what he had to say.
Yeah. So he had an initial statement that was really talking about just the weight of what happened. He started getting backlash, and then he had something to say to those who were sending him some of that backlash.
Because I'm standing up for someone that passed away, I'm now being called names in the chat. This is what's wrong with a lot of you people. You will never get far in life. You are sick in the head. Someone just said they're unsubscribing from me. Thank God, please. Because if you believe in they and thems, you're part of the problem. If you're so stupid enough to go against science, please unfollow me.
Okay,
He's
so
saying what we're all thinking.
minces no words.
And what I always loved about Jeffree is he has always rejected the liberal woke ideologies. Did he agree with Charlie Kirk on every single conservative policy? Absolutely not. He didn't. But he has always said, listen, I'm just a dude who is gay and I like makeup, and he's made an empire, and he's never backed down from what he just said, from science. And he has always branded that to his audience with authenticity and realness. And I respect that so much. And I actually had seen his TikTok that he had posted. He found out about Charlie's assassination while on a live stream. Yeah. And he immediately was reacting of, this is so wrong. I can't believe this is happening. And he was reading parts of the chat and just saying, shame on you guys for thinking this. And on that Piers Morgan episode that he was talking with, I know Riley Gaines and I think Jillian Michaels were also on that episode. Jeffree was speaking out how he's lost hundreds of thousands of followers, but is gaining hundreds and thousands more. And he made it very clear it's not about the followers, it's about the truth. And it's about what's actually going on in this country and how it just makes him sick. And yeah, I think we need more people with platforms speaking out for that.
Absolutely.
You see a lot of people in the political world especially trying to comment on this and saying, this isn't a left issue or a right issue. And I don't disagree. This is about truth and evil, right? When you boil it down. And the image that comes to my mind, I've been seeing floating around social media lately, is the video from the George Floyd riots and the videos from the Charlie Kirk prayer vigils. It's like the number of people who literally getting goosebumps right now, just like, what? the number of people who've made comments for years. We're coming off of years of the left and the mainstream media coming at us saying the right is what's wrong with the world. The right is responsible for political violence. When time and again, you can list them out, it's the radical political left that are responsible for these heinous acts.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's been the national story now. It's been over a week out of this really huge tragedy. The conversation has shifted to how are people reacting? And it's not a right and left thing because we see humanity in the left a lot in their reaction to this. But a lot of them, even from the jump, they did not show their humanity. And as more information comes out about this, they show that they're doubling down on their disrespect for human life and disrespect for their American brothers and sisters. And we see this with Jimmy Kimmel, formerly Jimmy Kimmel Live host.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting and so out of touch with the American
Just
people.
casually violating FCC codes of conduct on, what is it, news distortion?
Yep. Let us not forget when Jimmy Kimmel was crying on air over gun violence and was talking about George Floyd riots. And that's what's so despicable, honestly, about Hollywood. And I even know that the Emmys that happened this week, they had no mention of Charlie Kirk at all. Not even as like, a culture person, not as a political person, not even as of a man of faith, like just zero mention of it. I think there was a clip where it was like, something happened this week, but they like didn't mention at all what happened. And to me, it just like, that's where Hollywood is at. Like they hate you. And I want everyone to know that they hate you and they will continue to hate you. And I also know that Jimmy Kimmel's show is actually planned to be canceled next year in general, but this sped that process up.
So this morning too, I was listening to Glenn Beck's radio show. I've listened to him for like ever since I was like literally a child. My dad loved him when he was on podcast. I am like the boomer of the group. It's fine. But he was like live on his radio show asking his producer like pull up his rankings or his ratings. Thank you. I'm like, what's the word? Ratings. And amongst broadcast, he was like best case scenario in the 90s. And most of the listings had him like 120 something. And it's like, brother,
you're losing.
Yeah.
You're not relevant.
That's my hot take on this. I think he could have gotten away with it if he was funnier, if he's more entertaining, but he's been hemorrhaging viewers. He pales in comparison to Greg Gutfeld. He is part of like the Hollywood glitterati. They would have let him, that gross comment, they would have let it slide if he was bringing in money, but he absolutely is not anymore. And this is honestly best case scenario for him because now he can be a martyr and big bad Trump bullied me when his show was going to get canceled anyway because it sucked and was costing ABC and Nexstar so much money.
Charlie even tweeted in 2017, Jimmy Kimmel, you're not funny.
Something
along those lines, which I think is hilarious.
So it's personal.
So it is personal. But even I wanted to bring up, because you brought up Glenn Beck, and he actually recently hosted the Charlie Kirk show, which I love that Erica even proclaimed in her speech that I know we're going to get to a little bit later, is that the Charlie Kirk show will not end. And we've seen a bunch of just great political activists and radio hosts host the show, and Glenn Beck hosted the show.
And the vice president.
And the vice president. We saw J.D. Vance host the show, but something special that was about the Glenn Beck episode the other day was that he actually brought out Rush Limbaugh's microphone and put it on Charlie's desk right next to his microphone. And anyone who knows Charlie knows that he had been listening to Rush since the very beginning. And
Charlie's closer to my age.
Yeah.
Big Rush babies.
and I remember hearing a story about how he wanted his radio show to be like Rush Limbaugh's show. And so seeing that interaction, he also looked up to Glenn Beck as well. And so that was just a special moment that I wanted the viewers to know.
These are just beautiful moments, like big full circle moments that I think we're all still mourning this. It doesn't matter how long you knew Charlie, but it's just there's something so healing about the titans of our industry, the Glenn Becks, the Ben Shapiros, Michael Knowles. You had all the Turning Point guys, Jack Soap, like all those guys hosting the show and trading off.
It's beautiful.
I think
Megyn Kelly was today. The Daily Wire crew with even Matt Walsh was on the show with Michael Knowles and Ben Shapiro the other day. I think I mentioned Megyn Kelly, but it's a really beautiful moment that everyone's really coming together to continue to push his legacy forward and make him not forgotten.
Well, and Morgan, I've just been fascinated to hear from you just the strength of the Turning Point crew, that family, that, you know, for the whole country is grieving, but for those, of course, who work so closely with Charlie, that grief is different. It's deeply, deeply personal. And yet the work continues. And yet there's this call and there's this mandate to keep the podcast going. To, you know, Erica has said, you know, there's still going to be a tour, and, you know, they're still doing, you know, their big conference in December. I mean, all these things are still happening. Yeah. And that requires people, that requires labor, and it's coming from the people who are grieving.
Every single staff member at Turning Point USA is putting in now extra work in light of even grieving. And that's something that the resilience of even what I've seen from the Charlie Kirk show team specifically, who have been working with him for years. I mean, since the beginning of his show, or some people that are on that team with his just audiovisual equipment and who have known Charlie for years. They flew to DC to make sure that the JD interview happened. They are making it happen, even going through this grief process. And it really does show just the resilience of the Turning Point and the Charlie Kirk family, Turning Point Action family. It's like the mission has only grown to an exponential level that none of us even thought would happen this soon. I don't even think Charlie could have imagined that it would have happened this soon. But seeing how everyone has now, you know, going through the grieving process together as a Turning Point family and making it happen.
Well, let's put a pin in that for a second, because I think one thing that we wanted to make sure we talked about today that we discussed beforehand was the future of the movement, which, you know, again, to reiterate, as like we're all navigating this is rough and raw and real for all of us, and so it can feel really transactional, at least for me, to be like, okay, I've known Charlie for over a decade. We were like running around campus with Tyler Boyer and like some of the OGs, great. Brandon Schubert, like in Nevada and Arizona, like starting campus chapters, arguing. So awesome. Me more libertarian, like Big Guff sucks, isn't good enough, like we're like arguing, whatever. But it's like it's true, and it feels very transactional to like sit here and be working in this industry full time, being like, okay, but what's next? What do we have to do? Yeah. Like, how do we keep the momentum going, right? And so it's like, it doesn't feel like we have had enough time to regroup, but we don't get that time. Charlie is up there pushing us forward, making sure that we don't have the time. He's like, capitalize on this, you guys. Like, don't let my martyrdom be for nothing. Yeah. So do you guys have the latest numbers? I don't know if we wrote them down, but even just from the Turning Point side of things, do you know where we're at?
54,000 chapters have been requested to happen in our country.
How many were there before last week?
So before last week, there were about 1,200 high school chapters and about 900 college chapters. Wow. Which is insane. And that's something that even Charlie would say when I would visit at investor presentations and things like, yeah, our high school program is growing bigger than our college program because colleges love to push back against us. And the Turning Point USA high school program was rebranded into Club America, because what high school is going to reject Club America? Yeah. But you're going to have a Gay Straight Alliance Club. You're going to have Democrat and Socialist Club, whatever.
America Alliance.
Club America. And Charlie said, just this last year, I remember him very vividly saying, you know, Club America will be on every single high school in America. We'll make it happen. Someday, it may not be for a decade, it may not be for 2 decades, but we'll make it happen. What is so beautiful about that number of 54,000 chapters that have been requested to start is there are only 32,500 high school and colleges, or high school public. There are 32,500 high schools in our country and about 4,000 four-year universities.
Wow.
So we're there.
As
long as we can cultivate it well.
That is my number one prayer right now, is with the culture movement that is happening, and that, you know, as Turning Point is continuing to push his legacy and make sure that these chapters are cultivated on these college campuses, is that the individuals that have decided to charter these chapters, that they make sure that they thrive, that they get their communities together. And that's always what Turning Point has been about, is the grassroots of boots on the ground, going to these towns, going to these cities, getting in the high schools, getting in the colleges, and giving these students a community of like-mindedness and cultivate an environment where they can talk about politics, have free speech, free markets, all that stuff. And it's possible that every single town in America could have a Turning Point USA chapter.
So I think it's really exciting too, because from the heritage standpoint, like we've been around for over 50 years now, right? So a very much a legacy institution in the movement. And like just I think it's really special to have seen like the start of Turning Point and the growth, which is amazing. And now it's kind of like, okay, how do we as the legacy movement also wrap our arms around Turning Point and the work that you guys are doing even more so than ever before, but then also make sure that, you know, one thing Charlie was really passionate about, became more passionate about over the years, was like ballot chasing and like getting people to turn out to vote. And it's like we've talked about how this isn't necessarily a right-left issue, but ultimately at the ballot box, when you go to pull one of those levers, you're pulling the lever for one agenda or another, right? And how do we as a movement continue to cultivate real conservative values, especially heading in, we have a big midterm election next year, right? Like the momentum is going to be a big thing to hang on to.
Well, I'm super excited during midterms, during next year, that there's going to be basically like another RNC type event that the Republicans are going to hold to really energize the base. And I'm sure there's going to be a huge memorial and just time to honor Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, and all the millions of people that he's inspired there. So that is going forward, that's what is next. I don't know about just in general, but that is something I'm looking forward to. And I think that's exactly it. We have to like reach people where they're at. We can't just expect people to like, you know, grow up and become conservative. Like the joke says, like you're a Democrat when you're younger, you become more conservative so you have to start paying taxes. Like you have to instill that young, because we've seen a lot of cases, especially a lot of these people celebrating his death, it doesn't wear off sometimes. So like how are we going to help people recognize these inherent values? And that's a good first step in energizing the youth and energizing the Republicans.
That is a really good first step. And I was interested, I mean, the fact that Erica spoke on Friday, 2 days after, I almost couldn't believe it that she had that strength. But she really kind of gave this mandate. And the weight, like, wouldn't have mattered if Trump had said it, if Vance had said it, like, would not have had the same effect. To have Charlie Kirk's widow stand up and give the American people a mandate, it's like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Powerful. Locking in.
Yeah, seriously.
And I just want to play this clip for a minute, because it just kind of gives me chills.
That he was so proud of will go on. And in a world filled with chaos, doubt, and uncertainty, my husband's voice will remain. And it will ring out louder and more clearly than ever. And his wisdom will endure. My favorite too, but my husband's favorite word in the English language was earn. He would call all of you to be people of action who earn the future America deserves. So to all of the young people who felt inspired by my husband's faith and hard work, all of you already know what Charlie would want you to do. You know. You know.
I love that we're all sitting here watching this, nodding our heads. Yeah. To your point, Virginia, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You point us in the direction and we are going.
And it's like that, don't be silent. It's take action. Take time to personally think, like, what is my role? What can I do? Whether it's starting a campus chapter. But, like, we all have a role. And I think, like, we're going to talk for a minute here. And we asked you all, the question of the week is, you know, what is your prayer for the country? And I think, and we talked about it a little bit last week as well, and I think one of my prayers is just that we wouldn't, it feels like the Lord has said, something heinous has happened. What are you going to do now? And it's like, Lord, don't let us miss it. Don't let us miss it. Our country, I think, has an amazing opportunity to turn back to the values we were founded on, and above all, to turn to Christ right now. And I pray we do not miss it.
Yeah. Here's my question for the table then. I do see a lot of response from the Christian right saying, hey, I don't know if I'm down with this whole vengeance, marching orders. Like, we need to exact justice. Like, why can't we just come together and hold hands and say kumbaya together? Like, isn't that what Christ would want us to do? So,
because they're killing us.
And
they cross the line.
where in the Bible did no one pick up their sword and fight back to? You know,
Exactly.
this is a time where there is physical and spiritual warfare happening in our country and even around the world, of Christians being slaughtered in other countries and Christians being attacked in America. And it's like, I am all for praying. I am all for leaning on the Lord for guidance and for direction of, you know, where do we go next? And I mean, we can see that in the vigils versus, you know, the protest in 2020 of what the right versus the left, what the Christians versus the non-believers, the good versus the evil look like in plain sight. But I don't think that we can just sit back and physically do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritually, everyone is praying and turning their eyes to the Lord. But physically, what are you doing to ensure that no other conservative is going to get murdered on
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I said this last week when I was very emotional. It was the day after it happened when we were filming this. And it's like, this is a war. And war doesn't mean you're not bringing a sword to a gunfight or bringing nothing to a sword fight. And it feels like, you know, that's what the left has continuously brought on us. And I do think it is our time to fight back.
But you don't see, again, kind of back to what we talked about a little bit earlier with this dichotomy between the imagery between the George Floyd riots and the Charlie Kirk prayer vigils. Show me where the right is rising up en masse and being violent.
Yeah.
It is not happening. So I think people who are coming at this with that argument
notice that.
they're falling prey to the lie of the left
Well,
that it's
exactly.
always been our fault.
Jimmy Kimmel thinks that we're getting up and shooting one of our own and stuff like that. And it's kind of
never
crazy
happened.
seeing people, even some people who aren't necessarily liberal, but some of my friends who are like, wait, the shooter wasn't MAGA? And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you read anything that's not the mainstream media? Like, it's kind of shocking. Like, there's a lot of work to still be done. But you're right. It's like, how are we going to be able to, you know, represent our values if they're killing us? And you're walking amongst people, not just like the crazy blue-haired leftists, but like your doctor or your teacher or your Uber driver. And you're thinking, the way that you reacted to this news, like, would you also say the same about me if that happened to me? So it's.
I just think too. Go ahead.
I was just say Charlie brought a microphone to the fight.
Yeah.
He brought his words. We've all brought our words.
Yeah.
I would think too. Like conservatives bring to the messaging war hope,
Yeah.
joy, the American dream.
Yeah.
Trying to paint a picture that you too can have success in life. You too can have a family and find fulfillment in this life, and then ultimately the next. What does the left have to offer?
Nihilism.
Anger.
Anger, hatred, turning people against each other. Like that is not the core of who Americans are
Yeah.
or humanity for that sake.
Yeah.
And so like have hope, you know? Yeah, it's messy right now. It's not fun to go outside and walk out on Mondays when we have protests in our outside of our building every single Monday and wonder, is today the day we get physically assaulted? Like, what's going to happen here? You don't know. But also, we can walk in and out of this building every day and know we stand for truth.
Yeah.
We're here to deliver a message of that is hopeful.
Absolutely. I want to return to this point one brief time before we move on, because I wanted to see your guys' perspectives and your takes and how you've been explaining in your head and to maybe some of your leftist friends how this whole Jimmy Kimmel getting fired for his words is within the bounds of free speech, because I know what I think and I'm pretty sure I know what you guys think, but for some viewers who don't really know how to explain that to their friends, like what would you say? Why is this okay, or why is it not okay in your guys' opinion?
Well, I saw, I won't take credit for this, but I saw somebody post, it's the difference between cancel culture and consequence culture. And there's a difference between celebrating and promoting wrong details about a Christian man who was murdered versus being canceled for your genuine, just political beliefs. Like there is a big difference here. And this is something that Jimmy Kimmel went out and blatantly lied on TV, as well as many liberals who have, I think there's over 1,000 that have lost their jobs now because of their celebratory actions on the internet of Charlie Kirk. Like that is not just posting your liberal beliefs. Celebrating an assassination and a murder is not just, I'm posting about my liberal beliefs and you're disrespecting this is now cancel culture. There is a big difference between those two things.
100%.
Yeah. No, I think that's well said. And, you know, we've also, at least we've talked about this, that these are private companies that do get to make choices. And I am glad that there's consequences. And I often say, like, money talks. I think a lot of these decisions are made in boardrooms because they're looking at, okay, what's the bottom line here? If we keep the Jimmy Kimmels on, we're going to risk lawsuits and losing a lot of money. And so
You want to hope really it's just the unraveling of all the DEI in corporate America. But
Well, I mean, I'll even push back on like our own conservative viewpoints of like when these private companies were even firing conservatives for posting about anti-DEI or critical race theory things. You know, conservatives were fired for their beliefs. And of course, you can't be legally, like a company can't be discriminatory, but a private company still has the legal bounds to release somebody over a public statement over certain things. And so it's like devil's advocate on both sides. Like, do I love that conservatives have been fired in the past? No, but I have seen certain instances where legally, like, it's okay to where I do support it. Also in this side of, a private company, if they're speaking out against something so heinously wrong.
I can't think, though, of an example of when a conservative was fired from their job that was as grotesque as the concept of celebrating murder.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
100%. Totally different playing
I'm
field,
with you. Yeah, but it's like the humane thing is to alert the employer instead of going straight to the authorities and being like,
this is a problem.
Question.
It's like, why do we have HR
like if the
departments in
right
general?
was celebrating, if anyone on the right was celebrating the murder of anyone on the left, you know
There'd be
that
outrage.
SWAT would be showing up at their house. The FBI would be investigating them immediately. So like
the FBI has investigated far less.
Far
less.
It's just like a spectrum thing. Like the cancel culture isn't you're losing your job for speech, period. It's like in my head,
that's not free speech.
It's you're losing your job because you said something your employers don't like. It's too much of like a legal and monetary liability to them, and it's probably something super small. But it's crazy just seeing the uproar over this and people being more upset that Jimmy Kimmel lost his job.
Is that our question of the week? Should these people lose their jobs?
Oh, that's a good question of the week.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
That was good.
Well, even they were more upset about Sydney Sweeney's jeans.
Yeah. Oh, I've lived 1,000 lives since Sydney Sweeney has
than Charlie Kirk being assassinated.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Nope, that's accurate. Yeah. Well, for anyone, I know you all are going to be at the funeral on Sunday in Arizona. For anyone who wants to watch it and stream it, it will be streamed on Charlie Kirk's Rumble account. I think it's at 2 p.m. Eastern time because it's 11 a.m. in Arizona. So if you want to tune in and watch it, there's literally going to be
thousands
hundreds
of
hundreds.
This is going to make the Eras tour look
small.
Thank God. You know, I hope Taylor Swift rolls around and maybe makes a statement. I will say I was actually disappointed in the fact that she said nothing about it.
No, because I
really
did a video on this earlier this week. I'm like, so you were saying that words are violence and silence is violence back in 2020 with George Floyd, and now...
But she posted the black square on Instagram, so she's good to go.
That's what every single celebrity could have made, just a simple post, even if it was just about violence, if it was about political persecution, if it was even just about, this is wrong, like whatever you wanted to say. But seeing the celebrities who said nothing was very eye-opening for me.
You just had to have someone on your team do it. It's really not that hard. I don't get why you wouldn't do that. I'm sorry if you think you're going to lose a bunch of followers from that, but also a lot more people, like Jeffree Star said, would follow them for the first time if they're like, oh, they had the guts and the morals to do that. So it really
just
comes down to
a human.
They hate you. As a pop culture aficionado, this has been heartbreaking because I do love to indulge in that. But they hate you.
They do.
Yeah. Well, for those that are speaking out, continuing to speak out, there's just a massive lineup for who's speaking at the funeral on Sunday. Okay. So, of course, Erica Kirk will be speaking again. Just can't believe that she is so strong and speaking out. President Trump will be there. Vice President J.D. Vance, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, Trump Jr. I mean, the list goes on and on. Stephen Miller. It's for me, I think it's this mark of honor that you have this many top U.S. officials who are saying, we're going to fly across the country and we're going to honor someone's life and legacy and what he stood for. And that to me is the conservative movement.
In addition to that, there are very big worship artists that are actually going to be present on Sunday, which I am very excited about. I love worship music, but Chris Tomlin, Brandon Lake, Phil Wickham, Carrie Job Carnes, and Cody Carnes are all going to be singing worship at this event. And I think that is something that is so beautiful, is seeing these very large worship artists like Chris Tomlin, Brandon Lake, Phil Wickham, like all these names are household Christian music names, and having them being present at this memorial on Sunday, I think it just makes it even more special. And when you see people like, Elevation Worship, Hillsong Worship, who, of course, don't say anything and eat, sleep, breathe the prosperity gospel, but seeing Christian artists come forward and Christian speakers come forward and say, we're doing this for Charlie, is something also really beautiful that I'm personally excited to witness.
It is really beautiful. It's stunning. Well, I want to thank you guys for just all of the incredible comments that you guys have made, and just I know so many of you personally have just been speaking out and sharing about what Charlie Kirk meant to you, his legacy. I want to specifically highlight, we got just a really, really nice comment from Anne-Marie Tant, one of our longtime listeners, in response to last week's show. And I asked her, I was like, can I share this? Because I was so touched. But she sent us a message. She said, just wanted to say how much I enjoyed your podcast. I've been listening since 2022, and the most recent one about Charlie Kirk really hit me. I even started crying. My dad and I had been talking about starting a TPUSA chapter after everything went down. And now someone has already started the initiative here at the University of Tennessee in Martin. I've realized I want to do more than just watch the news and listen to podcasts. I want people to really understand what we're voting for, not just on the national level, but right here in our cities and communities. This episode gave me the push I needed, and I'm ready to step up and get involved. Thank you for this podcast. So thank you, Anne-Marie, for just sharing that.
So touching.
This is why we do what we do. I love it. And then just want to read some of these responses when we asked you guys, like, what is your prayer for America right now? You all have just had beautiful, beautiful responses. Benji wrote that America becomes Jesus. Miyama wrote that people wake up. Anne-Marie, you put Psalms 23:4. Look that up. Psalms 23:4. Olivia 27.grace, that we turn back to God and let him change ourselves and this country. So I think, that just continues to be our prayers. Like, let's actually think about, okay, what is my role? What is the mandate that Charlie Kirk gave us, and that now Erica Kirk is giving us? Like, what are those action steps?
And I think, like, if you're new to the movement, come back here every week.
Yeah.
Watch Charlie shows, watch Morgan's content, like consume all the good, conservative, thoughtful content that you can to really get learned, you know, like study up on this. But then also for those of us that have been in the movement for a while, like now is our time to be mentors.
Yeah.
And to really step in and like fill that gap.
Yeah.
And listen to the archive of all the Charlie Kirk episodes. Because he has a plethora of content, which is also super fun. I know I've been going back and listening to a bunch.
You know, it's funny. I remember saying this to someone about 2-3 months ago. I said, sometimes when I can't go to sleep or I had coffee close to bedtime or something like that, I'll just be scrolling on Charlie Kirk's TikTok and just watching him debate some of these leftists.
Slowly falling asleep.
I don't know
just
why.
soothes you to sleep.
It's honestly, it probably wasn't healthy for me. I'd be like up at 2:30, just like eyes
Eye
twitching.
twitch.
Like, you see him own the left one more time. But it actually was super uplifting when he would have those conversations and then they would see eye to eye at the end somewhat. And I was like, wow, that's the best category of these. So you have so many hours in the day. I did it at 2:30 a.m., so you can too.
You can too. Question of the week this week, Crystal. Do these people
Do all these crazy people need to be...
Do they deserve to be canceled?
I was going to say thrown in jail, but should they be
thrown in jail?
Should they be losing their job?
Should there be consequences?
Should there be consequences?
For their
Is it time for
heinous
consequence culture?
comments.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you right back here next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Follow Morgan on Instagram.
Follow Virginia on Instagram since she
Hi,
just started her
Crystal.
public profile.
I'm using it. I need to do more. All right. Y'all have a good weekend. We'll see you back here next week.